Hello, my friends. Welcome in. It's the transfer special as we head into the J2 League, which I'm not sure if this is one of those like you got promoted, you're expecting to immediately get promoted again. Are we going to walk the league? Or are we going to be troubled by the MLS like schedule? Seriously, how many games can there be? It would appear we are not expected to walk the league as the season preview has us expected to be in 10th, which should be fine. Kind of a consolidation season. Again, getting that into my history as avoiding relegation with a promoted team, so on and so forth. We brought in 7 new players that I have to show you, but seriously, please look at this schedule. What is the deal? We have, just 4 games between February 16th and the 26th. That's 4 games in 10 days. And then in March, including, 2 legs of a cup round, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games across 27 days. I think that's a tad aggressive, to be honest with you. So you immediately go as you come into the season, we need depth. Like, just to keep players alive, we need depth. So we've signed 7 of them. Our first pickup is a center back, Ryoga Ishio, who is a right-footed, but also is familiar enough to use his left foot if we need. Overall, pretty decent player. We pick him up from Tokushima, who were in the J2 league last season. He played, 23 appearances, 669, and then the previous season, a 664. But it's kind of hard for center backs to pick up, lots of good stuff, I guess, from a rating standpoint. Can play the wide center back and a ball playing defender, so we're going to play him there. Could do a little bit better on his decisions, but overall, you're seeing double digits, which is really nice. I've also changed this over here to attributes because I know a lot of people like to see that. I get comments about that from time to time. It's a 2-year deal until 2026. Picked him up on a regular starter contract. Overall, quite pleased with the pickup. Next up is Musashi Suzuki, who is a Japanese, we'll call him attacking third player, except he doesn't play the number 10. So you can play primarily, he's natural as a striker, pressing forward, target forward, advance. All of the things that be a complete forward. Haha, maybe we'll use him there. But can also play at the left and the right wing, and his crossing is decent enough to pull that off. Picked him up because I was a little worried we might lose Terranuma from a striker role, and really finding strikers of quality that also don't take up a foreign player spot. We can only have 4 foreign players in the squad in any given match day. And we're trying to avoid having to rotate 6 of them, if that makes sense, and keep them all happy. So we pick him up. Overall decent. Says he's just a decent J2 player. We get him from G Osaka from the J1 league, but he doesn't really play there. He goes on a free, gets a total of, 13 appearances over 3 seasons. Only scores 2 goals total. Not great, but maybe he's going to come to our level, drop down a level, and get some playing time and kind of finish out his career. Are we getting him at the peak of his powers and just the beginning of a decline? We're not sure, but my friends, relishes big matches. Love that. Can we have that rub off on the rest of the squad, please? Next up is Sotaro Hayashi that we picked up from Tosu. He was a youth prospect. He's 20 years old, so the board are going to love that. The board definitely probably don't like Suzuki because he's 31. Tosu, J1 league team. But he, obviously didn't play there. He's just coming up through the ranks, doesn't make the cut, gets released. He's a leading JFL player. We've signed him to a future prospect type contract, and we're going to loan him out this season. It's a 2-year deal on 300 a week, so very low outlay. My hope here, honestly, is that either he develops, which seems a bit suspect if we have to loan him to JFL, maybe at the J3 league level, to where we could use him in the following season, or we can turn around and sell him for 100 or 200 or 300 grand because we didn't pay for him. So not a ton to see here, but, it's an important pickup. For the board, hey, you signed a player under 23. Yay. We follow that up with what might be the best name of the squad thus far, and that's Paul Bismarck Tabinas. And again, remember I showed you that it's important to know which players in your league or which countries in your league are considered non-foreign. Well, the Philippines is considered non-foreign in the Japanese league, and that's where we pick him up. And that's critical because you might be thinking, are you becoming center back United? And no, because we've sold one. But really, this is providing us a depth option. He can play left back. He can play center back. He can play right wing back and right midfield wing. But he's just blown away. Just cannot understand the concept of playing right back, which I just think is a bit odd. If you understand the left back and the center back and the right wing back, you understand the right side, and you've played defense everywhere else. You'd think it would come naturally to it, but I digress. 23 years old, 1 grand a week on a 2-year deal. Not bad, if you ask me. Comes to us from also one of the best names of a club I've seen yet, and that is Point Getters. Suzuka Point Getters in the JFL. Uh, What's not to love about that? He actually played, this is in the game, on a 7.35, 34 appearances, but again, that's the JFL, so clearly he's got some sort of talent, but that's 2 levels below us. And I love that prior to that, he played in Croatia. So he comes up through the Japanese high school teams, plays for Iwate in the J3, then the J2, then must get released and goes to Croatia for a hot minute, and then goes to Point Getters on a free before coming to us. That's probably too much focus on his background, but I just love that. Needs to kind of work on his physicals a little bit, but he is 23, 6'1", so kind of one of those tall guys, but he's not going to be a ball playing defender. That just isn't going to be his style. He's got 3 on the vision, so we've adjusted our tactic a little bit. We'll get to that here in a second, but I thought he was a good pickup. Next up is another center. I promise we're not just all center backs here. Rion Ichihara, again non-ball playing defender. He's a central defender, another right footer. 20 years old this time. We do intend to keep him out. We did tell Paul Bismarck Tabinas. I mean, we have to use the whole name every single time, don't we? That we would loan him out, but I'm not sure if we're going to do that based on other moves that are happening in the squad. Rion could be one that goes out on loan as well. His jumping reach is a 3, but he's got good heading, marking, tackling, needs to work on the mentals. Kind of one of those for the future. That's why we signed him to a fringe player contract, my friends. That's what you do. That's what you do. Again, got him from Omiya. He was I'm presuming a youth prospect with the J2 level team. Only had 4 substitute appearances last season on a 6.43, so he's not played. He's come here to say, I understand I'm probably not going to play, but again, when you compare, you say he's 3-star. Again, I understand there's lots of variables that go into that, but he's not a 1-star, so maybe he gets in. Those 3 center backs are replacing in some part Rio Omori, who we sold to Nagano on a deal for 105 grand up front, rises to 130 grand. Again, he's a young player, 23, but he just wasn't gonna develop at our club. Again, our training facilities facilitate your non-improvement, I guess is the best way of putting that. So one of those, we pick him up, I think it was on a free, yeah. Pick him up on a free, turn around and flip him for 100 grand. Do that a couple times, you'd be doing all right. The adjustment to our tactic is in part that it is quite difficult to find midfielders that really move the needle. I can find Japanese midfielders, but they're 34 to 36, and that's fine, except their physicals are falling apart, and they're definitely going to fall apart when they see our 1 barbell and broken manual treadmill as our training facilities. So we have picked up Taishi Simba, hopefully that's correct in how you say that, from Okayama on a free J2 league. Actually played, he's got 30 games last season, 39 the season before in the game, 6.77 and 6.85. So pretty useful player. Fits right in, doesn't enjoy a big match, as you do. Kind of hoping for more of a DM, because we are going to be moving to a 2 DM system. But when you look at it, it's that's not that much further back. We put him on a deep line playmaker. That's probably going to be where he plays. 3.3 grand a week. He's 26 years old, so a bit on the pricey side on a regular starter contract. So he's expecting to play. Cannot use his left foot. Very strong right foot, though. And could improve slightly. I think he's good for our level. Again, in a season we're expected to be dead mid-table, consolidating. I think Simba is a good pickup for 2 seasons. We'll see if he can improve and help us maybe get to the next level or to the playoffs. Before I show you what I'm guessing is going to be our signing of the season and a player who honestly needs to get an agent, I'm going to show you Yamamoto, who has left on a free. Finally, we didn't kick him out. I was kind of playing the, hey, if you're going to stick around, man, you're 1.4 grand a week. That's fine. We need Japanese players. And then we get to after the transfer window and decide what we want to do. But he has gone on a free to Mito. So they're in at our level as well. Good for him, I guess. He's going to be what? Oh, I can't see it yet. We don't know what kind of a contract he's got, but I just want to say thanks for sticking around. Like, again, super inconsistent. Um, did score 5 goals for us last season on 7-11, where you go like, wow, he actually did pretty good. In the games, it wasn't that impressive. Super inconsistent. So we say sayonara to Yamamoto. All right, my friends, the big reveal. Flavio Di Dio has joined us from Italy, 2 grand a week on a 3-year deal. Let that sink in for a second. Left winger, can play right wing, like either way. Unbelievable talent, I think, for our level. You might be looking at this going, yeah, some of those mentals for how we are going to be using him, which is probably an an inverted winger because of the crossing ability, but he can also play on the right side in the winger role. That work, either of those work because he's very strong right-footed. He comes from Juve Stabia, where he only got 2 appearances last season on a 6.6. Prior to that, for Sergnola, he got 24 appearances on a 7.0. We paid 36.5 grand. I don't think I said we got him on a free. I don't think so. 36.5 grand, but he doesn't have an agent. And so he has asked for like a 400,000 release clause for clubs in a higher level or a higher division. And if we get relegated, it's 250,000. I'm hoping that doesn't get activated. Obviously for the relegation, but obviously on top of that, the 400,000. If that happens in the first 6 months and you buy a player for 36.5 grand and sell him for more than 10 times that amount, I think that's good business. He's Italian. Does he? Hey, GHA, does he have any? Nope. Doesn't have any Japanese or other considered non-foreign country heritage. We have a bit of a problem in terms of our foreign player population. Before I show you the tactic and our issue with juggling foreign players, just want to give you the overall view of all the transfers. Essentially, this is in last season going into the next season. So several of the players here at the end, all on freeze. We only spent 14 grand all of last year while bringing in 650 grand. This year, we spent 36.5 grand with 105 grand coming into us. So we're running solid business. Finances are actually looking pretty good. At one point, the bank balance got like kind of low, down to 600 grand or whatever. And then we're getting like 2.53 million in TV revenue, which I don't know, seems a bit high to me, but I'm not complaining. We also, just to kind of show you the staff, had a bit of a clean out, you could say. We brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 new staff members heading into the J2. First up, we have a new head physio who has actually seen a medical kit. 15 on the physiotherapy for Yang Cheng. Sorry if I butchered that name. And this one, Zhao Bin, also is a 14 and we picked him up as a physio. He makes 25 euros more a week than the head physio, but I'm sure they won't talk about it. We pick up a scout that has double-digit player ability and judging player potential, which is good, as well as a head performance analyst that knows what data looks like. I'm going to pause on this one because I'm super excited about Mariano Jimenez, who's an Argentinian. He was at Aspire, which I didn't know anything about, but it's in Qatar and it's part of their Academy for Sports Excellence. I did a little bit of looking at that. Doesn't really matter. We're paying him $300 a week to be our chief scout. He's got 18 adaptability, 13 judging player ability, and 15 judging player potential. He already knows Japan, but also on top of that, obviously, some of South America and Qatar. So, like, not sure how many players we'll be picking up from those places, but it doesn't really matter because he's adaptable. We can send him wherever. He's super adaptable. He's got a 2-star reputation. I'm pretty pumped about him. Next up, we have a new coach joining our staff. I think we had to let 2 coaches go, I think, and they had like 6s and 7s for all of their attributes. This is Li Yang Quan. Sorry if I butchered that. He was Jeonnam Dragons head coach most recently in 2022 and 2023. Actually looked at doing a save with them. We'll probably save that for FM26. 16 attacking, 12 defending, 12 mental, 15 working with youngsters. The tactical and technical side, not so great, but super determined, resolute personality. So one of those, like, again, maybe we need to work on the tactical and the technical side or whatever, but at least he's got the attacking standpoint to really help us improve there. And I'm hoping that, again, you may go, that's not how Football Manager works. Or maybe that is how it works. I just don't know the mechanics of the game. But I like the idea of there being a resolute, determined personality around coaching the lads and like maybe helping lift that up. And maybe at some point, because he's 15 working with youngsters, like he goes to like a couple of the camps for the youth players and like helps them not come in with 3 determination. A man can dream. Speaking of youth development, we got a new head of youth development with a 14 working with youngsters, 20 determination with a determined personality, and a 12 and an 8 on the player ability and potential. We'll see how it goes, but also working on his Continental Pro. We also randomly pick up a former player from the United States, Felipe Liborio Jr. He joins us as a scout, 17 adaptability. Just pause. Let's look at the countries he's familiar with. My goodness. That is wild. He doesn't actually know Japan that well. His history looks like this, so I'm not sure if, like, maybe prior to this, he spent some time elsewhere. I have no idea why he knows so much about all of these countries. He's like a global scout. I freaking love that. Florian Malot joins us from Fossa Juniors in Madagascar. He's a fitness coach that knows how to get the best out of our extremely poor facilities. 17 fitness and fairly professional. A nice addition. And the last one that I'll show you is Carlos Salamao. Maybe. Sorry for butchering the Brazilian Portuguese name there. Goalkeeping coach with all 12s, but also level discipline 17, fairly determined 13, balanced personality, but overall, we have improved across the board when it comes to our staff. And you can see that here, where again, we're not necessarily the best in the league on the goalkeeping side, but we are in the attacking and the mental, and pretty darn good on the other areas as well. Like, oh, it's nice. Like, I didn't want to just come in and clean house. We got promoted. We did what we needed to do. And then it's like, all right, thanks for being here. Thanks, guys. Let's bring in the professionals for the J2 League. And then our scouting team has improved. Again, the analyzing data side, not so much. We don't have that much data to analyze, right? We just need to scout some players, please. I'd rather have 5 scouts than have an analyst team, which obviously on the recruitment side, we don't have anyway. Real quick, my friends, just a little insert here. I have kept my Patreon open. I understand if you were a patron in the past, you might want to see how long we're going to be keeping this up, so I have to earn that trust back. But if you're interested in supporting me and the channel, since I'm not working right now, patreon.com/grayhairgaming. The link is in the description below. Thank you to Chris Carpenter for his upping his support significantly. That really means a lot. Chris, I kind of was blown away by that. But what I'm trying to do is kind of feel out with this content. The episode 3, by the time I'm recording this, not as many views. So I'm kind of wondering if people don't enjoy the longer season reviews and want to see the shorter stuff. But I've also heard you that when I first came back and put a video that was coming back to YouTube, I was like half the comments, but a lot of the comments were like, hey, you got to do it like the 10 kids in 5 continents experiment. That requires buying the editor, which I currently don't own, which is like $9. But anything that you can chip in with Patreon will help because the channel is not monetized yet. I don't know if you're seeing ads, but I have to get 3,000 watch hours, and we are not even a third of the way there yet. I don't even know if we're a 10th of the way there yet. So it's a slow rebuild as we go. This is probably a bit too long of a ramble. Did want to say thanks for those that have stuck with me even when I was not producing content. We're back. But if you want to continue or up your pledge or bring that back, the link is in the description. Thanks. So let's take a look at the tactic. Ignore all the green names. This is preseason. We're about to play our first game, and I'm still trialing players because the registration window is still open. What's happening? No one knows. We've gone to a 4-2-4, which you might think sounds a bit crazy. And you might be right. We were playing that 4-3-3 asymmetric right with Indo on the right. My friends, Indo has fallen off a little bit in terms of his capabilities in comparison to the rest of the stuff. He's still 3-star. He's still fine. So we're still going to play him. But if you compare him to Flavio Di Dio, let's actually just do that right now. It doesn't look like that big of a difference, except his vision, speed. I mean, Flavio is a significantly better player and is 3 years younger. If you look at the attributes, there's all sorts of technical green in Flavio's favor here. If you mix that with, we picked up Suzuki, who also, yes, we did promise regular starter minutes to. Right, lads. we can essentially put Didio here or Suzuki and Didio here or Endo. But the problem is we don't have a ton of fantastic midfielders. So we did actually sign an extension with Kazuki Chibu, which actually surprised me, to be completely transparent with you. But he gave us a 7.0 last season. He scored, what was it, like that? The 5 goals there towards the end of the season. Took the captain's armband when Satsukawa left us. Of course, I get his name right now. But we needed a DM, and I searched for a DM, and there was players of maybe equivalent talent, but they were also 33, 34, 35, not really improving our capabilities there. So we did sign a 2-year deal with him. Well, he's not determined. He's a 3, but we'll see. We've kept also Rentaro Yajima. I think we already had him on a 2-year deal that ends this season. But he's good enough. He did quite well for us last season, 7-2-2 with 8 goals and 6 assists. So happy to keep him around. But it was finding anybody else to go with that. So we had Park Hyung Jin and Nakahara retire because we are that club, like we talked about in the previous episode. After that, it's thin, to be honest with you. So that's where Simba comes in. He's going to be picking up that deep line playmaker on the support role. And I think I've got a solution for Chibu. Now, if Sasaki's roles didn't have the attributes highlighted, you would probably think like I did, right? That guy could play the ball-winning midfielder on defend. He's not getting enough minutes for his level. I can't remember if we've changed it to a squad player. Yeah, he's a squad player versus a regular starter. We want to keep him in the squad and keep him heading. He's left-footed. He can play the emergency left back, even though he doesn't really know it type role. He can rotate for Rodriguez. I mean, he can rotate the other side, but he's left-footed. But if you drop him into the ball-winning midfielder role, right? You've got the marking, the tackling, the aggression. He's not half bad as a depth option in a place where you can't find many depth options. At least that's my argument. So kind of what that enables us to do, and this may be a terrible idea because we don't know. We're sticking with tiki-taka, but we're getting more aggressive. We're taking off a DM and adding another player in the attacking third, and we're kind of leaving that middle of the park kind of exposed. We still have the wing back. We're dropping Marsilio to just a wing back rather than a complete wing back, but leaving him on attack. Harao is staying as our right back for the time being. I cannot find Japanese right backs that I feel like are worth this potential disruption to the squad by displacing him. I'm not saying he's fantastic, but he's super, super versatile. So not really complaining there either. And we're going to roll like this. Now, Ronan is here. We have not, sorry, my mic is in the way. Lucas is still here. He's just got a bit of a hammy strain right now. So we kind of have an issue now. If we go to the squad, you got Rodriguez, Marsilio, Didio, Ronan. Where is he? He's down here. And Lucas. So we have 5 foreign players. But since you can only have 4 in the squad for any particular game, that sounds like a problem, right? Not when I look at this schedule. 4 games. What did I say? 8 games. And then there are 6 games in April. Especially at the beginning part of the season, where I feel like we can give enough minutes and enough starts to players that even though they're on regular starter minutes, if they have a game off every 3 games, I don't think that might disrupt the dynamics a little bit on the pitch. But in terms of keeping the players happy and fresh, I think we can make that work. And by the time things, quote unquote, slow down, in the schedule, then we can start thinking about, do we need to offload one of the probably strikers, right? Ronan or Lucas, because are we going to be running out of spots in the squad once things, go to 5 games in a month instead of 8? Also, going back to the center back thing, Okamoto is going to be leaving us. He's going to FC Ryukyu. Sure, that's how you say it, on a free. He's just inconsistent. Wasn't thrilled with that. And again, some of these guys in here are rotation or youth prospects or folks that we're going to try and loan out. It's just that during preseason, I pulled them up to kind of give us 15 players to kind of rotate in and out. We will eventually also pick up Taylor Nick. I will show that to you in the next episode. He is Cambodian, so he doesn't count as a foreign player. And again, kind of another one of those rotation options, because if we get into a situation where we need to play Suzuki up top as a striker, let's say Ronan or Lucas is injured, I wanted to have some depth to kind of rotate with Indo more on the left side so he can kind of cover that. He ends up, I think, being relatively inexpensive. He comes on a free, I think, from Sve Ring. That's how we're going to attempt to try to say that. Yeah, he comes on a free. Again, not outstanding in the mentals department, but pacey, 27 years old, decent technicals, kind of just a depth option. So that's where we're going to leave it, my friends. I just also want to take us back to the season preview because I just noticed this. I don't know if I've ever seen promotion odds as good as 1-91 for Kashima. That is the Kashima Antlers, who were in 6th in 2023 in J1 and then got relegated in 18th. Not sure if there's a financial situation or what happened there, but they got relegated. 1-91 odds is aggressive. We are 25-1 to go up. Happy to take that mid-table finish. And then, do you think, now that we're kind of getting into the season, clubs will start coming in for us? I'm not sure. Let me know what you think of the transfers and genuinely about the content. Do you want me to go back to maybe doing half-season reviews rather than full-season reviews, shorter episodes? Or is it just, hey, it's going to take me a while to watch your 43-minute video from episode 3, and I enjoy that anyway? Hit the like button, my friends. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.